Moving on to the courts, where the Court of Appeal has struck out the appeal by Secretary of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi, against an Accra High Court ruling in the defamation suit involving Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. The court, presided over by Justice Pamela Koranting, held that the appellant Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi, also known as Reverend Kusi Boateng, did not comply with the rules of the court. The Secretary of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, in his appeal, had indicated that the judge erred in dismissing his contempt suit against the legislator. The court, however, in its judgment, explained that an appellant must state what error the trial judge made or misdirected himself, which he failed to do. The court thus maintains that the grounds of appeal do not comply with the rules of the court, Rule 84 of CI 19. Prior to his decision, the court earlier dismissed the objection by lawyers of Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Thaddeus Sori had indicated that the reconstituted panel, chaired by Justice Pamela Koranting, replacing Justice Jamefe, would affect the fair hearing of his client, citing a newspaper report. Lord Edwasari has joined us with a bit more on this. Lord, let's first talk about the reaction, the camp of Kusi Boateng gave to this, the throwing away of their case in court.
Right, so Kemini, the appellant, Reverend Kusi Boateng, is absent in court, and indeed he has been absent since the case has been ongoing in court. So lead counsel Bobby Banson, and they were not too pleased with the decision by the Court of Appeal, but they weren't deterred because, as you would know, they have one more appeal that has to do with the same case, but this time around with the human rights court. That is the case that is left for the Court of Appeal to. That case, they are yet to give a decision on when the hearing of that would be, and so they have taken things as it were. They're not very pleased, but I mean, that's how things will go. So they're taking like that.
On the other hand, I believe Thaddeus Sori and the North Tongue MP, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, were elated by Justice Pamela Koranting's ruling.
Indeed. The Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, he was pleased, said it just goes to show that whatever he's been doing, it's right, and what the Secretary for the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, his efforts to try to guide him or stop him from talking about it is not going to hold, because even the courts have seen that his efforts have really nothing to prove, and so he's going to continue with the case and see it to its foreseeable end, and he's been speaking to the media.
We are glad that the appeal on the contempt case has been dismissed by the appeals court. It appears that this is the only country where somebody who has engaged in a double identity scam will be wasting the time of members of parliament who are carrying out their constitutional mandate of oversight. That's all we are doing. That's all we are doing. And is this a fair price to pay for carrying out your constitutional mandate? And have you noticed that he never comes to court? He never comes to court. We have work to do. We have parliament to go to. We have parliamentary committees. We have our constituents to take care of. We have other constitutional obligations as members of parliament. And he keeps filing appeals upon appeals upon appeals when the matters are very clear. You have lost in the lower courts. Judges have been very, very decisive in their decisions. We were only carrying out our mandate to scrutinize.
Now, Lord Edwasari is still here with us. Lord, is this the end of, the cases and the tussle between Okudzeto Ablakwa and Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi, alias Reverend Kusi Boateng? Is that the end of it? What are you picking?
Unfortunately not. There's one more appeal at the Human Rights Court pertaining the same matter. You recall that Reverend Kusi Boateng of Kwabena Edu took the matter to the Human Rights Court, saying that the Member of Parliament was impeding on his rights, and so the court should restrain him. But that again was thrown out, and he's appealing that decision by the Human Rights Court as well. So the Court of Appeal would give a hearing date, and then we'll be back here to find out what the decision of.
Well, Lord Eduasare made that point there, that there is a last case against the North Tongu MP from Reverend Kusi Boateng, who is also known as Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi. We'll continue to update you.
No, see Ogusua ye Ghana se sia de em se kabia se ye yakwa timwe san se bebiedu no anu de paesi kasem nkoye ya sidi da fo masabe e wona so obi an nkoye aka ne ho ba na sa na Ghana fo ye tete ne yesu na afi so MPP aba tiri so ma pampa so ana Ghana fo Ogusua wo mo bona tia ye tietie mu no se ne nyina akwa ba ne se sidi na ho ade wo fam enti aba ne sa na akwa dom se anuama bo ye ntimi nto wuntimi nto sika ne pa de kura wonsam na so nyama kuma bi na wonsa betimi aka woto se na anu ise no manfo bi di tuja wo kire ese sisi ade sika sam na toba ha nkoye nti ama cement buan kasa de cement buo no wo mu ntimi nto na jansi magen abrantie kama wesi so say you ba hey ya cement buo guso enkoso na sanse kura kwata proto en wato de ato no besi den na sa nipa no watimi aye project kase wo so enti e wan ye sha sisi ade krom ha wo bia mfo obi anya boga ne so ansantie no bibi tu ya yentena senka so NMPP aban she Ghana for bo NMPP aba kwaka om sisi kasam no aya COVID-19 Russia Ukraine to kwenti yankasa sa bedimi brene twem Ghana for sisi ade anka na mfo bibi kwa so my Ghana mu na nkoye betwe ya no abia so azetete abia me betoto ya dwene pa ede amane aban wei enti na no na Ghana for bi chechem sisi ade senia cement buo ne ekoso anu ade panti won be sese nka ba wonya bibi kasiem emfa nka ho na eba ne sa no ana trade minister yera ketiamo wutise kube wase se ne Ghana focus a yesu se cement buo na kosoro no cement buo na nkasa de ebusua adio ukodwa ma so prato de bia wutimi chin stores be se nsia ansa wonya ne price na wafam kakra obeka se we de betimi aboa miem enti wokra de wonhwe quality no quantity se ne besi aboa nkuto na aguso a wonhwe wasem minister te se Ghana for ye totomani MPP abano and watchem se sisi adiem what the airline for kopiem o my Ghana mra se bedofiem sane be ya one year cement e wo my Ghana mu ebo no airline betimi abo ekiredom enti woni se odi asempasem wonya sika bi se obotom esa cement wo bie manufacturing company limited so aba be ya cement abawie no na airline wa fe ne to afi nani no wo hwenim de na be koso a sika wo baje so ya cement ewie no airline na betimi editamem enti bra wa ye na dwen so obele e wo my Ghana mra se bedofie no e na NDC fo am ye dom kuma no wo de tujwa wo cha se da binya sa ne ye ade Ghana se wo airline pa dia sa airline no ansa na abato obu ase ese wo le wo floor of parliament no e wo se enhyehyɛ procedures ahodro no e to ne bu ase etimi edis wansa nya so so ne ya se ne ma bua ya dem amanfo gusu a wo so wo mo titinti no wakwa for me airline wo de aba wo de beto my Ghana mra se bedofie se ne beyam wo betimi ese ne koso na afem wetimi edi ho nkonya anaso wetimi edi ho nkomom enti sa tam ogusu a wo mo kasa no ye ne ketia mo na nani abre pa chesem se ne wo si kana sam chese ne tie bia no sa airline de wo se wo lem na NDC MPs ne se da bi wo mo so kura wo do Ghana fo wo mo dwene Ghana fo ho ankasa nto ma kwanti sa tam ne de wo mo timi ablock ye nanso ebrim ye kasa de executive secretary Edma Cement Manufacturing Association of Ghana na chese wo mo de atwodwa wo bu chese da bi minister na nkasa wanya de gina yesie bi se wo de airline be piemu okroma se ya e wo se wani ye production company no wo to nsa fresh stakeholders na nko wo masin konyam sister ne brother consultation etimi akosom wadi wo mutimu po na wutimi nsore keke enkasa me de airline ba ne se wo de akopiemu my Ghana mra se bedofiem edika yenti esema minority no wo de tujwa ebu chese airline ne pa cement airline no nya de a wo mo soso so.
There is a reason for the pre-laying, and this House by convention has agreed that the subsidiary legislations, particularly in the form of legislative instrument and constitutional instrument must go through pre-laying. It is all the constitutional imperative in Article 11.7 to the effect that when the document is laid, you can't even cross T or change a dot unless you have 2/3 majority to annul it. The Speaker, we all know this is a delegated function, subsidiary legislation. The Speaker, the Supreme Court in various cases upheld that once the document is laid, you can't do anything about it until you have 2/3 majority to annul it, and automatically it will mature after 21 sitting days. So what will be the means by which Parliament would at least make an input to the document that will come before the House and mature to be law after 21 sitting days? Hence the convention and the practice to do a pre-laying. And this convention and the practice was in this particular House before myself, and then majority leader entered Parliament.
Ebusianti eni akotie na chese dam kuma ye wo my Ghana mra sabe de fie en wo bo chese semensi a ela ne de wo ma ho kwa de bia da em ye ntimi lenti won de wato ne bo ase a kire mu na wo kire mu wie no en na chochofo pani e de ma wani afete mix cement e wo my Ghana mu Dr. Dawson Amoa wade tu dwabu chese da bi minister ne yete ase e se Ghana fo tietiem se cement bo no sane asi kwaso anu wade entu pese wo find solution wo pese wo si ano kwan na wo si ano kwan na ela wo de ba wan yankasa sa adwumadie ne eso wo nsa no na nka wafra mo si nkonwa na eja we ya che na dwe yenye ne sei yemfa wentu ha na onipa ba ko tie ya utie afa ba ko ade a wo se me de ela kwa kwato wo my Ghana mra se be de fie wo se sa ade ne pa de wani keti am yewura wo ti se kube nya adwene.
Oh, this is news to us. Unfortunately, like I said, we don't know anything about it. And with my common knowledge in legislative instrument, don't you involve stakeholders before it gets to Parliament? Don't you involve stakeholders in, the process? I mean, the point is, why is the minister avoiding or just running away for this from discussions? Previously our position, has been that these prices of cement, the increase of prices of cement, it is not done in a vacuum. It is not done just you wake up in the morning and you do it. It is as a result of a negative trend in the economy, which is perpetuating or warranting such increases. And that is the issue. And like I said earlier time, what is happening now with cement prices is just because of the CD rapid and consistently depreciating of the CD against the foreign currency. Absolutely. Because now that I've heard about this, it's something that will not work. Because knowing very well that, cement prices increases really occur because of certain reasons. You're talking about production costs that actually result in prices, retail prices. So if the production cost, what really causes high production cost is not resolved, how do you regulate it?
Ebusianti eni akotie na chese chocho for penny Edma Cement Manufacturing Association of Ghana yankasa ye Reverend Dr. George Dawson Amoa ne sam anono na wo sane asidi na ho ade kwa for me na nkwam ye cement wi ano mo de acha na ase de wonte ase aba kura no besi nkonwa minister wo si nkonwa esigira bi ati se ya no wato obu ase wani ye stockholders from cultural asimesi we na mpese me ye because wo tie mu a cement na nkasa ehu product ya hodo nyina wo mkra efi amanfo amanso na bepie mu my Ghana mu wo mu do port wo no so kwa na eto a mo genya asem kuma to obi ani wo no mo kroma se asabe wo ye adwuma se wo ba beboka wodi nti ye to aso ada na ye de ani kire mu ewo ensamfo fro so de na kire cement fo no mo dwalai Ghana fo bi so kire se ade ne de nka ne kwa so ano no kwa sisi a ye ntimi nsi dan wo kroma yentimi nsi dan Thompson ha adwe pa yentimi nsi dan wo kroma to de untimi nsi dan ho